Latkes and Applesauce, a Hanukkah story by Frau Manushkin, illustrated by Chris Easter. Latkes and Applesauce, a Hanukkah story. Long ago in a village far away there lived a family named Manash. Papa and Mama were tailors who had two children, Rebecca and Ezra. Every year when Hanukkah came, the family dug up potatoes for latkes and picked apples for applesauce. But one year winter came suddenly and snow began falling. Not a lazy flake or a little bit of a flurry. No, this was a tremendous blizzard, as if all heaven's feather beds had burst. Come, sunset is upon us, said Papa. Let us celebrate the Hanukkah miracle. So Papa sang the blessings, and Mama lit the shames, and Rebecca lit the first candle. Now, declared Papa, for the next 8 days we shall celebrate the feasting and gladness. Bring on the latkes and applesauce. Papa, said Mama, the blizzard has swallowed our feast. The potatoes are buried under the snow, and as for apples, we have none left. Ah, well, said Papa, then let us sip our soup. So, sitting closely as birds in a nest, the family sipped their soup. Listen, said Rebecca, I hear someone crying. She opened the door a crack, and in walked a wet orange kitten. Mew, 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 the kitten cried. She lapped up a little dish of milk and fell asleep in Rebecca's lap. Now, Rebecca, said Papa, we must return this kitten to her mother. Papa, Rebecca said, this kitten is lost in the storm. That's why she is sad, and since we mustn't be sad on Hanukkah, I think we should keep her. A cat is one of God's creatures, declared Mama. Of course we will care for her. Rebecca hugged her mother. Mama, what shall we name her? A name should fit as well as a glove, said Papa. I will name her well, Rebecca promised, but right now I want to play dreidel. The kitten spun the dreidel so well she won 2 nuts and a raisin. When the candles flickered out, everyone went to bed. On the second night of Hanukkah, the snow came down harder. I like soup as much as you, Papa told Mama, but I'd love to wrap my mouth around a latke. Listen, said Mama, do you hear that noise? There was a bark outside. Ezra opened the door a crack, and in walked a skinny brown dog. This dog looks as hungry as a bear, said Ezra. He gave the dog the last drumstick from his soup, and the dog quickly gobbled it up. Ezra, said Papa, we cannot keep him. We have hardly enough to feed ourselves. But Papa, said Ezra, he is starving. Haven't you said we must feast on Hanukkah? Ah, well, said Papa, a dog is one of God's creatures. Let him stay and share what we have. I will think of a good name for our dog, promised Ezra. A name should fit as well as a glove. That night, the dog and kitten played dreidel. When the candles flickered out, everyone went to bed. On the third night of Hanukkah, snow was still falling. Mama sighed. Our soup is dwindling like a burning candle. If the snow doesn't stop, we'll starve. Now, said Papa, where there's life, there's hope. On the fourth night, Papa repeated these words. He said them again on the 5th, 6th, and 7th nights. On the 8th night, Papa said, I see the sky is finally beginning to clear. Let us go and gaze at the stars. They may help us forget our empty stomachs. The dog leaped around in the moonlit snow. He jumped and ran and sniffed and dug. Papa gasped, oh, what a world of wonders this is. Our dog has dug up potatoes. Potatoes in the snow, marveled Mama. It's a miracle. We will have latkes tonight, shouted Papa. Mew, mew, came a sad cry from above. The Holy One doesn't mew, said Papa, so our kitten must have climbed this tree. Papa climbed up to rescue the kitten, tucking her under his sweater. Sitting far out on a limb, Papa said, ah, how beautiful is God's creation. I can see so far. What can you see? The children asked. Apples, my children. Your Papa sees apples, red and round, hiding their glory under the snow. Apples still on the tree, said Mama. A miracle is happening here. Apples are always a miracle, declared Papa as he joyfully tossed them down. That night, Mama fried so many latkes they were heaped up high, a golden treasure. Papa, said Ezra, I'm going to name our dog Latke because he found our potatoes. A wise choice, said Papa. The name fits like a glove. And our cat's name is Applesauce, added Rebecca, because she found the apples. A perfect name, said Mama. Then Mama and Papa and Rebecca and Ezra and Latke and Applesauce ate latkes and applesauce as much as their bellies could hold. Is the Menash's story a miracle? Who can say? It happened, and maybe that is miracle enough for anyone. The holiday of Hanukkah. Like the Menashe family, Jewish people everywhere are always eager to celebrate Hanukkah. Why? Because it's a happy holiday. Here is how the Hanukkah holiday began. More than 2,000 years ago, the Jewish people lived in a land called Judea, now called Israel. The center for their worship was the great temple in the city of Jerusalem, and in the temple was a great menorah. Its light, which burned both day and night, was a brilliant symbol of holiness. A cruel king named Antiochus, who ruled in the land of Judea, tried to force the Jews to worship his god Zeus instead of their own. When the Jews refused, the king sent his soldiers into the temple and destroyed holy books and desecrated holy objects, including the precious menorah. The tragedy didn't stop the Jewish people from worshiping God. With great faith and courage, a man named Judah Maccabee led a small band of Jews who began to fight the king's army, an army that included thousands of soldiers and horsemen and even some elephants. After 3 years of struggle, the king's army gave up the fight, such a miraculous victory. After this triumph, the Jewish people hurried to reclaim the great temple. They cleaned it thoroughly, rebuilt the altar, and made a new menorah. Finally, it came time to rededicate the temple to God. When they searched for oil to relight the giant menorah, they found one small container of purified oil, enough to last only one day. But that oil burned on, day after day. In fact, it burned for 8 days. Seeing this as a sign from God, Judah Maccabee declared, "Let these events be celebrated with mirth and gladness for all time to come." And that is exactly what the Jewish people do every year. In countries all over the world, families and friends gather to light candles and feast for 8 straight days. Now, about latkes and applesauce. You may ask how latkes came into the Hanukkah story. Well, latkes are fried in oil, and that helps remind us of how a little jar of oil that burned miraculously for 8 days, putting applesauce on latkes adds a touch of sweetness to the potatoes. Latkes are usually a bit salty, and the combination of sweet and salt is delicious. And then about the dreidel. Here is one explanation as to why Jewish people played dreidels during Hanukkah. Although the cruel king forbade Jews to study their Torah, the Jewish Bible, young boys would gather in secret to study it. Whenever they heard soldiers' footsteps coming, they'd take out their spinning tops and pretend that they were playing. Today, children still spin the dreidel. The 4 letters written on the sides have a double meaning. The letter Nun stands for night. Nish or nothing. Gimel stands for gans, which is all. Hay stands for halb, which is half, and shin stands for put in. The letters also stand for a great miracle happened there, and it certainly did. And here's our dedication for Benjamin Saul Burke, Carson Gloria Broxman, Ari Michael Evans, and Zoe Renee Vanderpool, and to God, my light, and Dan, my love.